So my hubby and I wanted to take a moment to give thanks, to recognize.
Thank you, Lord. Okay, things could have gone a lot better. And that may be true, but things could have gone a lot worse.
Right.
And sometimes just being in the middle is a lot better than being on either extreme. I finished pretty much the whole New Testament from the Bible.
In a week.
In a week.
Too, also praying. So what is going on, Victory Riders? It's your girl V here, and as you see, I'm here with my hubby.
You know what's up, everyone? It's Donnie G.
Y'all already know his name, okay?
Donnie G.
Dante Newman.
Donnie G.
Okay? Maybe if you see a mic in his hand, you can call him Donnie G. But I don't know, that's not even a mic.
I actually never referred to myself as Donnie G before.
Only because he goes by Donnie Green Prince.
Donnie Green Prince. But y'all can refer to me
His
as
comedy,
Donnie G.
His comedy name.
Donnie G.
Don't do that. If y'all love me, don't do that.
Listen.
Because his name is Dante Newman. So you can call him D New.
You call me D New or Donnie G.
Very
Whichever
good.
one floats.
G does not even apply.
Yes, it does.
The funny thing is about G is that you call my dad Papa G. And my
Donnie.
dad doesn't even have a G in his name.
And his dad. And I know that's so weird. No one ever said, yo, you should stop calling Dad Papa G. Doesn't make any sense.
And now he wants to call himself Donnie G. Why? Anyways, we're getting sidetracked.
Yo, I know, wait a minute. Yo, that's why I'm disrespecting your dad, yo, calling him Papa G.
Yeah.
But I think it's because I'm the first in-law that it's a name of affection. Like, Papa
My
G.
mom would make more sense calling her Mama
G. Oh, I'm going to call her Mama G and Papa G
because her nickname was Gemma.
Gemma.
And that's a G.
G or J.
No, Janine is J.
J, but Gemma is...
Gemma, in the how she spells is G-E-M-M-A.
But the reason I call her dad Papa G is because he definitely looks like Mark 𝐤𝐤𝐬.
Anyways, wow. As you guys see from the title down below, you already know what this video is about, and we have not touched on that at all.
All right, y'all. So today we're gonna wrap up 2024, y'all.
2024.
So
today, as we record, it is December 22. So my hubby and I wanted to take a moment to give thanks, to recognize.
Thank you, Lord.
And really marvel at all the accomplishments and everything that we've done this year. Through God and by God alone. I've been taking you guys along the way of my journey in 2024.
Yep.
And now that it has come to an end, I can only thank God for bringing me to the end.
Gotcha.
Because we did so many things. And a lot happened in between those so many things. You can't record everything. So life has been good. God has been good. And I'm thankful.
Thankful. Saying so much happened this year. So many things could have gone wrong this year. And some things did go wrong, but at the end of the day, we're still here. We're still breathing. We're still standing. We're still have our right state of mind. We're still able to breathe on our own without any machines. We're still able to walk without assistance. We're still able to see without glasses, hear without hearing aids. So everything is going really well. And I mean, ultimately, that's all you can ask for. We still are housed. We still buy the food that we like, right? We still have our loved ones. We didn't lose any loved ones this year. No. So that's a blessing. So God is good. And I mean, ultimately, when you just sort of peel back the layers, you think about like, okay, things could have gone a lot better. And that may be true, but things could have gone a lot worse. Right. And sometimes just being in the middle is a lot better than being on either extreme. You see what I'm saying? And then also, you could just say things have gone good because it could be worse. So because it can be worse, or because it could be worse, things are good. And so that's a perspective I think many people don't share because they're always thinking about, oh, it could be 10 times better. Right, because in their mind, how they saw things. Yep. But you just never know what God is trying to teach us through those lessons of trials and tribulations and being down in the valley, because maybe
maybe we're not ready to get the mountaintop yet.
Nope.
You know, you learn your lessons in the valley. And I'll say I learned a lot of lessons this year. And a lot of them hurt me. Like Dante heard all my venting sessions. You know, I probably brought some venting sessions to Victory Riders, but after you vent, after you experience it and you let it all out, then you gotta sit with God and say, like, God, like, what do you want me to learn from this? Because I do not want to go through this again. Because oftentimes once you learn your lesson the first time, you'll probably won't experience that same hurt the next time, you know? No. So, so the hurt we experienced this year, make sure you guys take some time, reflect, go to God, and ask God, please help me understand where I went wrong, where I need to grow, so that I can enter 2025 being a better person for myself, for God, and for the people, his people here on earth. Because, boy, we went through some lesson learned this year.
So let's begin with a breakdown of how we sort of experience life in each month of the year. So it's only right to begin with the first month, January. So what did we do? What did we learn? What did we encounter? What did we experience?
Yeah. So because in January, honestly, the only thing I had for January is when my family came and we went to go see the lights. That was really nice, but that was his family's first time staying at home.
Right.
And that was a blessing in itself last year. That was last year's blessing. We got this home last year. But we continue to thank God for this home because it's still in tip-top shape. No major expenses need to be dropped on this house. And, his family came. And that was a good time. We fed them, we laughed, played games.
You had a good time.
And we went to go see some Christmas lights. It was a good time.
Yeah.
That started the year off nice.
That started the year off really nicely. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was my first time as an adult being able to host my family because growing up.
And you had a big family.
Yeah. Everything every event, every family get together, it was always at someone else's home. So it was my first time being able to buy food, or for us to buy food, buy games and plan an entire day out. Yeah. And, thank God we were in the position to fund everything.
Yeah, to host them.
Pay for everything. So that was good. We had a good time. So that was January. Good time, January. Shout out to January.
Yeah, thank God for January. Oh my gosh, babe. Actually messed up.
What?
January, you were reading the full Bible.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, January.
My baby and I began the year on fire with God. Like, he really was on fire for God, like maybe January 2nd. I feel like after we hosted his family, he woke up the next morning, and I think he was like in Timothy reading, right? Where did you begin? Timothy?
Probably Timothy, yeah.
And
I don't remember how I got to Timothy.
All of a sudden, he's just like, I just finished reading Timothy. And he goes, 2 Timothy. And he's like, I just finished 2 Timothy. Yeah. And then that snowballed my baby into wanting to accomplish reading the whole New Testament. And you did that in how long?
A couple days.
In a couple of days. Maybe like a week, maybe.
Like a week, yeah.
He finished the New Testament. And my baby was able to do that because, like, as a professor, she was off on winter break, or holiday, whatever. Yeah. And he had nothing but time. Yeah. And he used that time to read the Bible.
Yeah, this was reading the New Testament.
You speak on that.
Yeah, so I just started reading the New Testament. Like you said, I started with Timothy, and then I think I finished 1 and 2 Timothy. And then I said, you know what, let me just read the entire New Testament, because I had learned that, it was Paul who had written who had written 1 and 2 Timothy. So I said, okay, he wrote 13, books in the New Testament, so let me go and read them. But then, obviously you read the New Testament, you start with the Gospels. So I was like, this is, I never really tried to read and learn about Jesus and the Bible myself, so let me do this. And so I just kept reading and then taking notes and thinking about it, sharing it with Victoria, openly talking about it.
Right, because he would read it like first thing in the morning in bed. Yeah. So I would see him first thing in the morning opening the Bible out.
Then Victoria, I think you got me a new book.
And then I got him a Bible because he started to say that his eyes was hurting.
Reading the Bible.
Reading the Bible so much on the app.
Yeah, so that's one thing too, because I noticed that like me, when I put so much stress on my eyes, you can definitely damage your vision, even if it's temporarily. So I started there. Yeah, I've been there before. So I try to spend less time on my phone, reading on my phone. So I got a Bible. So I finished pretty much the whole New Testament from the Bible.
In a week.
Well, because it was in a week because I had nothing to do. I was literally off work, no emails, nothing. I had to. So I was like, okay, let me
use the time wisely.
Use the time wisely. I don't want to sit at home just watch TV all day.
Because you could have.
Yeah, I could have, but it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I learned a lot about the New Testament, and then so after reading the New Testament, that's when we started reading.
And that's when I jumped in with him.
Yeah.
Because when he was reading the New Testament, I was still doing my own thing. At the time, I was reading Nehemiah because I started the year doing a Bible book club.
Oh, yeah,
and I was reading Nehemiah at the time. So while he was doing New Testament, I was reading Nehemiah. And by the time he finished the New Testament, I finished Nehemiah. And then we together began the Old Testament. And you finished that.
I finished that one. I didn't finish that until like summer.
I think before we went to Italy.
Oh yeah, definitely. But before, so it was like
less than 6 months.
Yeah, obviously it takes a lot longer to read the Old Testament than the New Testament.
Right.
It definitely takes a lot longer.
More books in there, yeah.
Definitely more books. And also they're longer. So it's a lot of stories, and you got to follow.
History,
with the New Testament, they are connected but also disconnected because the majority of it is just individual letters written to different churches. And it's also too repetitive too, so a lot of the themes are regurgitated throughout the different Pauline letters. And then even beyond Pauline, you start getting to the other ones, Peter, Hebrew. So just like different themes are building onto one another, and then they introduce a couple of stuff like, so again, to the Antichrist towards the end of the New Testament, but that's not really mentioned in the first couple of letters. So it's a lot of recurring themes, but it's still easier to read than the Old Testament. But I think for me, like after reading the entire Bible, and now we're reading the New Testament together.
Again.
But I think once people say like, oh, what did you learn from reading it? And that's a hard question to ask, right? Because you're talking about a book that has so many teachings in it. So when they go, what do you learn? A lot of this stuff, it's hard to put into words. It's just the way you will see it in the way that you live, or the way that you don't, and or the things that you say or the things that you don't say. And so, like for example, I remember just thinking like, oh, you're not supposed to eat pork, or you're not supposed to eat these foods because that's what people said. I don't know where they got it from, but they said in Leviticus. Well, that's what I'm saying before. I don't know where they got it, but everybody says don't eat these foods because it goes against Bible's teachings. But then when you read the Bible for yourself, you go, yo, you could really eat anything that you want. Honestly, if you want to eat the pig, if you want to eat shrimp, you can, if that's what you want to do. Because
God has given us free will.
Free will, right? And also too, is just it doesn't defile you as a person just because you eat those foods. So, but again,
however,
it's no however.
There's consequences.
Oh yeah, however, but there aren't spiritual consequences for eating food, meaning that you're sinning. That's what I'm saying.
It won't disrupt your salvation, right? But you will disrupt your health, because yes, in a way, there aren't such thing as unclean animals because God has put these animals on earth for us, and if we pray over it, and God has blessed the food, can we really say it's unclean? But at the same time, we have to understand that some foods are more healthier than others.
Yeah.
Some foods are going to give you longer life. Some foods are going to shorten your life.
Yeah.
So, yes, we have the free will to eat whatever we want, to drink whatever we want. However, you have to learn that there's going to be consequences. Do you want to live a long, prosperous life? Or just want to have a good time and have a short life, so.
Yeah. But I think it's important. But it's important to know that for yourself while you're reading the Bible. So that's just one example of just like learning and like understanding the people who wrote the Bible. Like that's important too. It's like, yo, how is it that you got 66 books, right? That comprise or that make up the Bible. okay, who are the writers of each book? Who wrote the most? You know, like those things are important to understand. Okay, like I'm reading this Corinthians. Okay, who wrote Corinthians? Like who wrote Galatians and why? Who were they talking to? Who was their audience and why? Like
what was his life about?
Yeah, so those things are important to know. So like reading the Bible it's so many ways that you can approach it, and I think that like for me, even when I'm reading it now, it's like part of it is like it's like learning more and more and more about it from like a perspective of like I want to know as much as I can about the Bible, right? So there's one thing I think some people read it and they go, okay, I'm gonna read this Bible. It's going to enhance my relationship with God. Great. Also, too, there's another perspective. That's why they got teachers and scholars. They're reading it because they have a thirst for knowledge to say that this thing is the text that everyone should live by. Let me show you why, because it can be verified. It's true. So I don't know. I think
there's layers.
There's layers to it. It's so many different layers to it. So
I agree.
We got February.
February, I don't see much per se, but my cousin Melissa came. February kept it very low key and quiet, and I think it's because the beginning of the year we were both sick.
Oh yeah.
So it took us a lot to recoup.
It did.
And then once we finally were able to like recover and feel like good. February was like a low-key month. March is, okay, so March is when things started to happen. Yeah. So if y'all don't know, I'm in my calendar right now. I started the year writing things in my calendar, then mid-year I started doing it in the Google Calendar. So that's why I'm in my calendar right now. So 2 things happened in March. One, IUD removal.
Got the IUD removed.
That was March 5th.
After 5 years?
Yes.
Well, almost 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. On March 5th, I went to my OB and I got my IUD removed. And that's a big deal because that's how we created this. That meant our life's about to change for the next 18 years of our life. 18 plus years, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's like your life has changed forever once you
forever, pretty much.
Yeah, it doesn't stop like once the kid turn 18.
And the second thing, I went to the women's retreat. And I can speak on that because I had a phenomenal time there. I was also on fire for God during March. I'm saying was because there were pockets of the year where I wasn't as on fire. So I'm not saying I'm no longer on fire for God. I'm just saying at that point in time, I was on fire. Like I just wanted to absorb everything that could bring me any closer to God. So when my mother and I went to that women's retreat, I was ready for it all. 5 o'clock a.m. meetup? Sure. But the old me, the version before this thirst I had, I'll be like, see you at 9 o'clock, But I was waking up every morning. I was sending down to take videos of me 5 o'clock in the morning. My mom is pitch black outside. We're going to a prayer circle and we will be praying with the women. And it was just so enlightening and inspiring to see women who had many different walks of life. And because of my age, I don't have that same kind of like story as they have when they say their prayer. Like when they open their mouth to begin their prayer, like they went through a lot. And like thankfully at my age I can't say the same. But it just allows me to see, even with that much I know she went through, even though I don't know her story, I can just feel it in how she talks, that she is still committed to serving and worshiping and being a believer of Jesus Christ. And I think that's so important to understand because so oftentimes when we go through so much in life, we want to give up on God. We want to like toss him aside and be like, God, why does this happen to me? I'm a child of God. I serve you, I tithe, I do this, I do that. Why are you allowing this to happen to me? And yet to see these women still wake up every morning, be a Christ representative, and show the world that I'm not going to give up on God. I thought that was absolutely beautiful. That motivated me, right? Women's retreat, bliss. And I met some people there too. I thought I was going to be friends with them at this point in time. But I think God has brought me into an isolation period that although I met some great women there that I could have continued a friendship with, I think God wanted me to, and I still follow them on socials, but we just don't talk, wants me to have an isolation period right now. God is working on me mentally, spiritually, you know, and I think he's not done with me yet. And he knows how person I am. If I have a lot of friends, if I have people to talk to, I'll be distracted from him. Mm-hmm. So I think at this moment in time, I'm just like, it's just me and God right now. But I met a lot of amazing women there. And yeah, unfortunately, because I'm pregnant now, I'm not thinking of going back to the women's retreat because they do it every year. But one day I do plan, 1 year I plan on going back and seeing my 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐞 ladies because I did have a good time. So now April, so a lot happened in April. Yeah, so first weekend in April, Dante and I went to San Antonio.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And you know what? We only decided to do like these trips because we were having discussion of moving back to Cali.
Yeah.
So we're like, before we go to Cali, we gotta do everything we can here in Texas. So 1 weekend went to San Antonio, and then the next weekend went to Austin. And we want to see more on that, watch my videos because I did a whole vlog about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we did a road trip, so we drove there.
Drove to San Antonio. We had a really good time.
So we thank God for blessing us.
That was fun.
Yeah, blessing us on the road, blessing us there.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good time indeed. And went to the 𝐿𝐸𝐤𝐞 concert.
Oh yeah, 𝐿𝐸𝐤𝐞 was fire.
And I was so happy to go to that concert because 𝐿𝐸𝐤𝐞 brought me through law school. Every morning, as I drove to the law school building for my apartment, my car had a CD player. So just turning on the car, boom, the CD is immediately playing. And I want you more. Okay, anyways. The next month was May.
Yeah.
May, a couple things happened. My baby.
Oh, yep.
Released his first comedy special.
Ruffling Feathers, y'all. That's what it's called, Ruffling Feathers.
Yeah, I was so proud of him.
Yeah, it was just more of us like, yo, I just want to like try to tell jokes. That's it. Mm-hmm. And I like writing jokes, but the thing is I don't want to tell the jokes. I just want to write them for someone else to tell them. I don't want to be a comedian. I would rather be a writer for a comedian. I don't want to like be in front of a screen. I'd rather be behind the screen. Or not behind the screen at all, just the person who writes and y'all go and work it out. You know? So comedy was cool.
Yeah, the reason why that was big, my baby is not a social media person. Yep. Like, y'all know I'm heavy on social media. And it was a point that me and my baby even had a couple channels. But because he started like expressing like, yo, I'm really not into this stuff, I made my own. So I left my baby on the wayside in my own channel. Mm-hmm. And then he wanted to be a comedian and he made his own channel and dropped this comedy special. He got over 1,000 views.
It does?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I haven't checked it. I never checked. Here's the thing. I don't like social media.
He has over 1,000 views.
So this one was like, it was more of a like, let me just do it because I also like, you know, teach public speaking, and so comedy is a form of public speaking, right? It's even in our textbooks that we use, and so
right. So and it was a good exercise for him to show his students too.
Yeah, and surprisingly, none of my students actually reported me or anything. I got one feedback like, "Oh, this guy thinks he's funny," but yeah, you can be the judge of that.
Yeah,
that's funny.
You can have your opinion.
So then we went to.
Then our baby turned.
Go ahead.
What did we do?
33.
Okay.
It's fine.
I don't know why I can't remember his age sometimes. So my baby turned 33 this year. And
what do we do? I don't remember.
Toronto. So also on my baby's birthday was also Mother's Day. And also, so my baby's birthday, it was Mother's Day. And that's when we took our first pregnancy test.
On my birthday, man. Yeah.
Because we thought it would be cool to find out if we have a baby on Mother's Day, because then it's just like, my first Mother's Day.
Yeah.
You know, in a sense.
No.
But we weren't pregnant. That was our first not pregnant. So we moved on. Life moved on. We said, okay, Lord, not this time. And then went to Cali because we were really interested in moving back out of Texas after Cali.
Graduation at the show for.
Oh yeah, also May's graduation season.
So yeah, we were there. We're thinking about moving back to California,
and then
we're just like, No, we really thought about it. There were a lot of pros and a lot of cons, but I think ultimately, right now, it's best for us to be here. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more beneficial being here for now.
Yeah.
And when the time comes and it's really pressing for us to move back, then we go back and we go, yo, we got the most out of this experience of living in Texas, even though it was temporarily, and it was an emotional decision to move here. But I think honestly, even if we have to go back, there's nothing I learned so much in my office that shaped my perspective about what my vision is for our lives, that who knows if I would have been able to get that in, moving to a different place in California. So it's even if you have to go back and be I'm going back with the vision that was sort of given to me by God in Texas, that now is all good, because now that vision that was given to me in Texas is following me no matter where I move for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's why I said in the beginning when we talk about lessons, we learned a lot of lessons here in this house.
Man, 100%.
We learned a lot of lessons, especially the lesson of the house really ain't the American dream no more.
Oh no, it's not, yo.
It ain't the dream. Boy.
Oh, that's a good thing. No, that's the thing too. It's we learned that
this house beat us over the head.
Yeah, it's just having a house doesn't mean anything. But when you're young and everyone says for example, I'm texting one of my friends last night and they're like, yo, when I'm getting married in 2026, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna buy a big old house. And I said, yo, you might not want to buy a big house because you're going to see that it's going to become more of a burden than anything, because you got to pay for that mortgage and it's a liability. You'll be actually better off when you get married, taking a year or two, maybe 2 or 3 years to actually put some stuff aside. So when you do get the house, if you want one, you're now putting 50% down. So now it's okay, I got a big house, but it's not really taking so much and taking so much from me. It's not exploiting me to the point where this is all I can do now is pay this mortgage. Yeah. But anyway, but the thing I'm so grateful for the house, because sometimes I'll walk around the house and be like, yo,
I know,
man, this is really our house.
I know. So
even though the house is some people, for example, on Twitter, they always talk about is renting or owning better? And for me, it's it just depends. For me, I think renting is a lot better. But also too, psychologically, it does help you to own. Psychologically, you're yo, I own this. Even though it may not be the most economically beneficial, but sometimes investing is not rational. Because you own it, you feel a lot better about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Even if renting it is better. But sometimes you can't discount the psychological aspect of it too. So sometimes I walk around this house, and I'm so grateful. And I'm dang, I can't believe we live in this space, and I'm grateful for it. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, because earlier in my pregnancy, I used to go upstairs every morning to work. I have an office upstairs. Now I just been on the couch working, because up and down can just be a lot sometimes. Anyways, the main point I'm making is that the opportunity to go upstairs and sit in my office to work was a blessing because of where we came from. Yep. Because Dalton and I came from a 1-bedroom apartment.
4
the
years.
Bedroom was literally just a bedroom. So everywhere else in the house was a multi-purpose room. Yep. The living room was multi-purpose, the dining room was multi-purpose, the bar and the kitchen was multi-purpose. So everywhere else but the bedroom we used as an office, to work, to relax, leisure. It was quite an experience, especially because during COVID, when it was mandatory for us to stay inside, Dante and I were able to figure that out. So that now that COVID began to open up again, open the world back up again, we were able to know how to live together because of COVID. If it wasn't for COVID, I don't know if we would have been able to like really learn how to live together 24/7. You know?
Man.
And I think Dante and I mastered that. We mastered how to give each other space and then how to come back to each other. And with this house, makes it 10 times better because when we was living in a one bedroom apartment, I would see him from here. He'll be over there having his me time, and I'll be over here having my me time. No. And we'll be in the same room having me time.
No space at all.
No privacy.
No privacy. No.
Not
space.
like he's doing anything sneaky, but it's kind of like you want to just kick back, let your hair down, and
watch TV, honestly, or something. Like whatever. The thing is, we never really got a chance. And like the thing is, what I didn't like is that Victoria was always working in a chair.
Yeah, I was always at a desk.
So always and sitting in a chair at a desk, and never got a chance to like really watch a show or a movie because she was always sitting at her desk in her chair. So now while she's here, when she was watching shows and movies, she had her headphones in.
And I was watching on my phone or my iPad.
On her iPad. But now that she's here, she can, sit on the couch, fall asleep or whatever she needs to do. It's like, it's a different. Yeah. So honestly, like as much as we went through this thing around May where it's just like, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here. It's all bad. And then we just started to realize it's like, let's just be in the moment. And when it's time to leave, and again, it's it's trickier being here, but we just gotta just move around as best as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And it's, and here's the thing, it's like, it is a lot better being here in so many regards. Cause like now, we hosted our family.
Family's near.
Her family can come visit.
Yeah, and have their own place to stay. Instead of us putting them in a hotel.
Yeah. So May was
there's perks.
May was a tricky month. We spent a lot of money thinking that we needed to move.
I know. We was really debating. I even called the moving company that we used. I even purchased my parents' ticket to come down to see the house because they've never seen the house. I'm like, before we move, come see this house.
Yeah, we was about to get out of here. And we was in such a rush. Last thing I say, we was in such a rush that like we even put money down on an apartment. I mean, what is it called? Deposit.
Oh, yeah. How much was that?
$400.
Yeah.
Didn't get it back.
It was like a hold. It was a hold.
A hold. So
because the room was available.
It was available. Put the hold in, and they were just
Forgot about that.
We couldn't even get that $400.
We tried.
We
tried to pull out all the legalese to get it, but they were like, they legalese us back.
For real. May was good. The reason I enjoyed May, the Toronto trip a lot is because Toronto is a big city, but it felt safe. Well, safer, I shouldn't say.
Certain pockets. I remember,
Yeah, it just felt a lot safer just walking around. Yeah. There are pockets of homelessness, some pockets of strange people, but I truly enjoyed it. And also, too, we had some good Haitian restaurants that we ate at.
It was a Haitian restaurant.
Oh, Jamaican, because they got the Jamaican population. Good Jamaican restaurant. Yeah. Honestly,
I totally forgot about that.
Honestly, I would definitely go back to Toronto.
I can see how people would love coming around to Toronto, especially like if you like born and raised there. I can see you wanting to settle down there. It's not like New York City.
No way.
It's a gift city, but also gives, I don't know, it gives a quietness as well.
I would live in Toronto. Like if we ever had to move like to a place and just like, I would go to Toronto. It's a big city, and everything that you will need looks like you'll have access to it.
So next is June. I don't see much. But I do want to mention how I did a 6-look photo shoot
in June
on June 21st. And that's important because I believed so much that I was going to be pregnant this year that I booked a 6-look photo shoot because I also knew I wanted to keep my pregnancy private.
Yep.
So in order to keep it private, people already know that Victoria be posting, So if I just go from social media, either A, I'm pregnant, or B, maybe something's wrong with Dante and I and we're separating. I don't know. But I post constantly. So when someone posts constantly, then all of a sudden they just stop posting, you assume the worst sometimes. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I assume the worst. I'm like, oh my God, what happened to her? She's always posting. Yeah. I'm like, hope everything's okay. And that's so weird that social media has that effect.
Yeah.
So in order for me to be consistent in posting, especially for the big holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthday, and we did 2 randoms. Anyways, yeah, so that's all I want to say. But that just comes to show I have faith that God was going to bless this womb, that I would have a baby, okay? And I think that is important to mention in terms of like our journey, because even before Dante and I had a positive stick, we were moving as if I was pregnant already. Yeah. Everything we was doing, we're like, yeah, but you might be pregnant. Yeah, we might be pregnant. Like, even though we had like, at this point, we had like 2 negatives at this point. Yeah. Oh, again in June. So look at that. On June 21st, we did a 6-look photo shoot. And then June 23rd, before we went to Italy, we took the test again. And it was positive.
Oh, that was June 23rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was June 23rd.
So that was when our lives officially changed. Even though we were already moving as if it changed. But that's when it was like official stamp.
Boom.
You're pregnant. Then we backpacked Italy. We don't even got to go through that much because if y'all real busy riders,
oh yeah,
y'all saw all these videos. When you travel with Dante and me,
we do things quick.
Yo, we're getting things done. So what would take maybe an average person 3 days to see the city, it took us 1 day to see the city.
1 day, yo. But another thing too is that like when we travel, we don't want to do like so sometimes we do like these theater performances at these places, stuff like that, and go into this museum and spend 4 hours, and then you do that museum this day and the next day. So it's like for us, like, yo, the thing about museums is that y'all don't care. Yeah, that's the one thing about, like, I'm be honest with you, if it's not like a museum for Black history or maybe even like now stock market history, it's like, yo, I kind of don't care, yo.
What piques your interest, basically?
Yeah, because the thing is that I'm not gonna remember it.
No. So and you're not going to sit there and read everything.
I'm not going to value it. I'm not going to remember it. I'm not going to value it. But there are certain things that I'll do. Like when we were in Europe last year, or we were in Europe this year, but when we were backpacking through Europe, excluding Italy, we went to like these, like what are those, like the castles and stuff? Yeah. Those were nice. Cool. Those are nice because you're now walking through, you're seeing rooms, gold. You
see the swords and the armor.
Yo, that stuff is nice.
That's cool because not things you see all the time.
Exactly. But you tell me to walk through a room and it's just like a little picture on the wall and then some type of summary. I don't want to see that. Yeah. I don't want to see 300.
You know the ones that get me too?
What?
Like it was like a book and it's written in like some like hieroglyphics, so like whatever language. And it's just like, so I can't see a book.
I don't see no book.
I remember, where were we? And we went to that gold museum. Where were we went to that gold museum? It doesn't even matter. We went to so many museums, where we wasted our time.
And monies.
And money, because you pay for some of them. But Dante and I had to like look at ourselves and be like, yo.
We ain't doing it.
We're done with museums. Anyways, so that concluded our 5th year wedding anniversary backpacking trip in Italy.
6th year.
This year's 6, and we're gonna take it easy.
6 year, well, we're taking it easy.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, baby. Only thing you can do unless you travel to Aruba with the baby, but at that age, probably not.
Too young.
Too young, unless your parents watch the baby for 3 days.
Yeah. So, okay, and then in August 2nd, my mom comes to visit us in Katy.
She stayed for 2 weeks.
Hid the pregnancy for my mother. That video should be out too, so go check out that video.
Check out my baby's video.
She has no idea, even though she claims she did. Her mom's a mother who likes to believe she can see through her children and she knows everything's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's fine, because sometimes she does. But I feel like at this point, she did not know I was pregnant. But Mama, I'll give it to you. And then I took my butt to Hawaii with my cousin Schneider. So Hawaii began my second trimester downfall. Although I had a great time in Hawaii, immediately once I touched down, my baby got aggravated with me too, because like he wanted to hear about my trip. But like for me, I was going through so much. So he picked me up from the airport. He's like, all right, so tell me everything. I had zero energy to tell anything. My throat was hoarse. I had so much queasiness in my stomach. I was coughing. It was like my body was going through the worst reaction yet for flying in a sense.
Yeah.
But I think my body was going through the worst reaction because I was just encountering a lot of people who was carrying various bacterias. And because my baby is now like sharing my immune system, which I don't really think he's sharing, honestly. He's taking everything. He was sharing the immune system that my immune system has weakened in protecting me from colds and flus and sicknesses. Anyway, so long story short, that was my first sickness when I touched down from Hawaii. And also, by this point, you should see that vlog me and Schneider took in Hawaii. We had an amazing time. That was my first cousin trip. Not cousin trip. That was my first trip with her. And she's my cousin. And we had a good time.
And then
so
September, we fly back home,
we
right?
flew home. Yeah. So right before I flew home, I began to feel a bit better. But then I went home and on the planes. I was everywhere. My baby had an event for one of his boys.
Oh, yeah, for my friends. Yeah, lit, turned up.
And there was like a lot of people there. We took the train.
Turned up.
It was Brooklyn, rainy night in Brooklyn. So I got sick again. It came back again. And then being home, I was going to church, seeing the people from church, hugs and shakes, you know. Yeah. I was sick. I was at home. And at home, that's when I told my family that we are pregnant. I was like week 19 then.
17,
oh, right
18.
Here. 18, yeah.
Yeah, 17, 18.
And of course, at this point, you should see my reveal to my family video.
Yep.
So watch that video too. We came back into October, like, 2nd.
And then I think October just kind of went by, honestly. I don't think anything.
Yeah, because we just came back from, whenever my baby and I come back from a trip, we're like,
we ain't doing nothing.
Nobody can get to us. We're in quarantine mode. Like, don't ask us to come out. Don't call us. We're like, we don't exist to your house. So that was October because we just came back from the trip from New York. Yeah.
Nothing happened. I remember that. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. I was just going to my doctor's appointments, my OB/GYN appointments regularly. I made my 20-week halfway mark. And then November is still, we try to make a November eventful because it was fall and pumpkins and festive. We couldn't get it right. Every week we wanted to do something. Either I was tired, and the weekend when I wasn't tired, then it was raining.
Yeah, we tried to like start planning stuff out, but we learned like with the pregnancy, it's best to just kind of take it easy.
Yeah.
And one thing that we can do now up until basically is just creating at-home content.
At home, which is why my baby gave me my 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐤𝐞 concert.
Oh yeah.
Because I was literally sick the day of the concert. Day that she had a concert in Houston.
Yeah, we couldn't.
Yeah.
We didn't want to risk
November 11th. I remember that day. I was so mad.
Yeah, but we didn't want to risk like going to a concert where people are like singing and just bacteria, germs just flying all in the air.
Super spreader.
You know, and then also too, people are going to be in there crying, sniffing, because there's going to be catching the Holy Ghost and the Word, and it's just like, no, I don't think this will be a great event to go to, knowing that your immune system is weak and then you're now prone to sickness. So that's just,
and another scare we had was that our OB shared with us that she had a patient where she was coughing so hard that she had a water break and was going to deliver preterm. So that's one thing that, like, and honestly, that scared us the most. Yeah, and because we have been sort of vigilant and diligent about the cough, we've just
been able to like really do a good job at making sure you're staying away from people.
Yeah.
And you've been doing better.
It's been
a lot better now.
No, 100%. I agree.
And I think it's because you're not around people. That
too. And I think I contribute the way I take care of myself.
Oh, we left the devices in there.
Yeah, like I got an air purifier, got a humidifier. I'm like, before I used to just take my prenatals, but now I'm taking vitamin C, zinc, B complex, iron. Like I'm taking more than just prenatals now. And also first thing in the morning, I always take a spoonful of honey and oregano oil. So it's like I'm doing so many things that I don't know what to attribute it to. I'm also praying, you know? So between the prayers, my devices, my vitamins, I've been better.
Yeah, I've been a lot better. So
yeah.
And then and then November we revealed on Thanksgiving, I think.
To your family.
To my family.
So when my baby went to go pick up his mother, and when he got here, and she
stayed for like 5 days. So I remember it was like, dang, 5 days went by fast. I don't think with my mom this year, the days go by fast because she really don't bother us that much. She just kind of go down. She'll pop in and talk to Victoria. Oh, good morning. How you doing? Okay, I'll go downstairs. Okay.
Yeah, that was when I used to have my office upstairs.
Yeah, but
now I've been down here
every day,
and she's been outside. When I was down here, she was outside.
Go to December, and so now
we're here.
We're in December. Nothing happened in December, so yeah.
No, but Christmas coming up. It's gonna be our first Christmas together alone.
That is definitely true because every year
our first and last. Gonna be our first and last Christmas alone, y'all.
That is true.
Because all past Christmases, as a married couple at least, we've been with family.
Yeah, this is gonna be our first one. Well, we're gonna stop by my mom's house
in the morning.
So,
but it's just mom though.
Just the mom. We just want to make sure keep Victoria safe, keep her from everyone. You know, she's 30 weeks pregnant. Well, by that time, Christmas.
This is Wednesday.
30, so still 30 weeks.
Still, yeah.
And we're gonna wear a mask. Tell my mom to wear a mask too, because she be around too many people. So, all in all, we are extremely thankful for all that we went through. Our whole journey of 2024. Couldn't have done it without God. Couldn't have done it without God. Couldn't have done it without my baby on my side. Couldn't have done it without my baby on my side. And I'm just extremely happy about the life that we created, the life that we will have come 2025, God's willing. And yeah, I believe this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. So we're super thankful. And thank you, Victory Riders, for coming along the ride with us, watching the videos, liking, commenting, sharing, and being a part of the community, all the family rather. So thank you guys so much. I love you. I love you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Say bye. Peace out. Peace, y'all.
I still believe in Jesus. I never stagger, I'm Abraham. 'Cause I know the promises of